You know, every year in early spring, I just can't get over how nice our yard looks with all those wildflowers out there. I don't even know where they came from. They just popped up, and every year there's more and more. If it would just stay like that all summer long, I wouldn't have to mow or anything. Our little rosebuds, or redbud trees, doing real good. And our fruit trees are popping out, but I don't think we'll get much out of them. It just looks really great. They got the yellow ones this year out in force, a lot more than usual. Anyway, they look really nice. Here it is right off the deck to the right. Looks like it snowed there, doesn't it? Man, and a lot more yellow ones, like I said. They're just everywhere. The yellow ones really came out this year. Normally we don't have that many. Those of you who keep up with my videos, in particular my Mish-Mash videos, you'll remember in the last Mish-Mash video, I told you I was working on a rock mite assembly for a friend of mine who has been giving me radios over the years, and he even bought me lunch once, and now he's bought me lunch twice. I don't know. I told him, I said, don't do this. And he just keeps doing it. He just irritates me to no end. Anyway, this is the progress we've made so far. The board is all together, looking real nice, and that's this black thing, in case anybody's wondering what it is. That's a heat sink for a transistor. This thing was bought about 10 years ago, believe it or not. And so now what we're going to do is we're to the point where we have to take this stuff in this bag and assemble the entire mechanism inside this blue aluminum box. And it has a gain controls and things of that nature on the ends. All of this plus this go in here, and then we'll see what that looks like when we're done. Incidentally, anyone who decides to take on a project like this, whether it be an old one like this, a 10-year-old project that's been sitting around the guy's house, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you're going to be doing very, very small pad soldering on the rear, you have to learn how to do it. You can't just grab a soldering iron and start soldering. I went to a school many, many years ago that taught me how to do this by hand, and and I'm glad I did, because it turned out really good for this particular project. Don't just grab I used a 15-watt iron and took my time, just pad by pad by pad. You don't want to overheat these things. Each time I soldered it, it was about 2 or 3 seconds maximum on each of these pads where the leads came through. If you don't know how to do this sort of thing, find someone that can teach you before you try. Otherwise you'll burn the whole thing up. You'll lift the pads, you'll lift the runs, everything. Okay? Well, the weekend is upon us. Today's March 25th. It's Saturday, and I'm back in the shop to try to put up at least some of the molding around the doors and windows. And I don't know how much I'll get done, but I don't plan to work on the shop on Sunday. I'm just going to take a break. The daughter's coming over, grandson's coming over. We're going to cook up some steaks tomorrow. I'm not going to worry about a thing. Now, what I'm going to use to put up the molding is a brad gun by DeWalt, as you can see. And it's loaded with 1 1/4 inch brads down in there. And I was, kind of, it's battery operated. It's got 3 batteries. And I was kind of concerned that, would this thing actually go through the OSB and all the way into the 2x4 as far as it needs to go, or would this OSB be a little bit too hard for it? This is, a battery gun. It's not air operated. So I decided to give it a little test. I borrowed this gun, by the way, from a friend, and we gave it a little test. And then go over here in the light, and I'll show you. Here are the brads that were put in it. It did a pretty good job, actually. Now you'll notice some are deeper than others. Some are right up there next to the surface, which is where I want these. Others went down really deep. This gun has a tendency to wind up when it gets ready to shoot. It'll go, and if you let it wind up all the way, it shoots the brads in deeper. But if you hit it when it's about 30% wound up, you get just about where you want to put it, right there. A little practice there, So this worked pretty good. They went all the way through the OSB and all the way into the 2x4. Worked out perfect. So now I got to go ahead and cut them to the length The wood that I have laid right here for the door, I'm going to cut that to, let me get rid of this wood. I'm going to go ahead and get these things cut to length, and we're going to go ahead and put the molding around the door. Then the next thing will be the window. If that's all I get done today, I'll be a happy camper. I'll be way ahead of what I started with. So let me see what happens. I'll show you the first couple of shots with that gun once I get this stuff at the right size and get it up into the doorway. Alright, let's go ahead and put the first brad in. Now this wire thing on the end here has to be pressed all the way in against the board, and it'll retract as I press, and a light will light up, and then you'll hear it wind up. And about the 30% levels when I want to pull the old trigger. So right now the idea is to just get one of these brads in to hold it in place. Look at that. Perfect, just what I wanted. Now I will be putting tile on the floor here. I've told you that before, but I don't want to have to cut tile around here, around this thing right here, you know, just for a ½ inch or whatever. So I went ahead and when I put these things up, I mounted them on a double layer of linoleum that we had here. Pretty thick, actually, thick stuff. And that'll give me plenty of room to slide my tile underneath there. The trim I'm using is a soft pine, or the molding, and I need to find out how far the brads will go down through it. You know, I don't want to drive a brad all the way through it, so I've got a piece laying on top of a 2x4 here. Let's see what happens. It's not as hard as that OSB, so I was concerned about that. Let's do a little test run here. Well, that's not too bad. Let's get a little more focus here. That's not too bad, just below the surface. Just the way I want it. I think this is going to work good. Well, it's getting late, and I am tired. In Arkansas, when we're really tired, we're not just tired, we're tarred. That's me, I'm tarred. Anyway, we got the molding around the windows, except for the bottom here. I'm going to put a shelf here that extends out about, oh, maybe 10 inches. I don't know what I'll put on it, flowers or something. Maybe a picture of old Buzz's dog Peanut can go there. That'd be nice. Anyway, I got the baseboards done. The baseboards got done all the way around, and around the door frame got done, which included putting, you know, these things here, the fascias. Same thing over here, fascia. I'm going to put a shelf out here. I ran out of 1x3. Unfortunately, I may just go ahead and just take pieces and nail them up underneath there, because there's going to be like a 10-inch shelf sticking out here too. But we had to put in the, you know, the nice fascias on the inside all the way around. I don't know if you can see that with all that light, but there you go. Looks real nice. Turned out pretty good so far. But we're not done yet. We have a long way to go. We got to go around the ceiling, and we got to go in the corners. Then comes the tile. And old Brendan, you know, he, old slave driver Brendan, you know, he says, you need to paint that thing. I said, no, it ain't going to be painted. Not going to happen. You know, with me, you paint it once, you have to keep painting it over and over and over. It never stops. So I don't want to paint it. He says, well, what you're going to have to do then is you're going to have to seal it. I said, oh, shit. He said, you know, this stuff here creates a lot of dust. It'll be everywhere, this old OSB. And I'm sure he's right about that. So I'm going to pick up a couple of gallons, maybe 3 gallons of water-based sealer. And I'm also going to seal the floor, which I was going to do anyway. He reminded me to do that. Seal the floor before I tile it. No problem on that. But she's coming along very nice so far. Won't be too much longer, guys. My son-in-law could not come up and work on electricity this weekend. He's down in Florida. His boss has him down there doing something. So, poor guy everywhere. Well, last night we had us another toad strangler. Boy, it rained and rained and rained and rained. If these potatoes survive, it'll be a miracle. Now, we are getting some grass out of my side of the garden. Let's pop this stuff that was down in with the straw, I guess. No, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. What do we see here? What? I just noticed this. Ooh, 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 ooh. Look at it. Oh, first blood. Look at there, Buzz. First blood. For those of you who don't keep up with my videos, Buzz 1151 up in Oregon and I have been having a potato growing contest for 2 years in a row. And this is the year I take his crown. He beat me 2 years in a row. Actually, I let him win. But, you know, he's kind of a guy with a big gut. I kind of felt bad for him. But anyway, there it is. First blood. Let's see what's going on in his little patch. He sent me some potatoes just to rub it in. And I planted them. He said, I want you to plant them. And I did. Now, of course, I got to be fair about it. It took me about 4 more days to plant his. But I actually got a potato growing. Man, I'll tell you what. This year is the year. Tomorrow, we're going to load up on more hay here. But boy, it sure got wet. Our yard is just totally underwater out there. All right, let's wrap it up with this little deal here. On March 4th, our good subscriber, Ron C., he put up a video that showed how to calibrate a Heathkit AGA audio generator. Really good information and all. I mean, I watched that video. I thought that was pretty cool. However, that's not what caught my eye. What caught my eye was that thing right there. That is a connector. Let me zoom in here. I had never seen one of these before. Look at there. A B&C connector with a dual wire. You slip wires in the hole and then screw down the screws on them. Never had I seen that. Let me see if I can get a better picture of that there. There's a better shot of it. I was intrigued by that. He mentioned it, but did he tell us where he got it? No. Did he elaborate on it? No. He just moved on to what he was doing. That is a very cool item, Ron. Therefore, I thought I'd go ahead and pick me up some. I now have 5 of them that I ordered on eBay the other day for $3. Heck of a deal. What you've got is your little B&C connector here, your coax connector, and then you stick your wires in down in there, and then you just got a positive and negative marked on the top up here so you don't make a mistake somewhere around here. There it is right there. And you tighten up those screws on the wires. I thought that was really, really neat. So now I'm good to go. Anyway, until next time, by the way, thanks a lot, Ron. I'm glad you at least showed that, you know. Until next time, this is John.